One of the biggest wake-up calls that I had, or the biggest like epiphany that I had whenever I was learning how to play guitar, is that playing rhythm isn't just as simple as playing the open chords in a specific order. It can be that simple, but if you want to spice it up a little bit and kind of make it a little bit more interesting, you're gonna want to do more than just play the typical open chords. Now you can play the open chords, but I'm talking about how we're playing the chords. So in this video, I'm gonna show you a couple, 3-4 tips on how to spice up your rhythm playing and turn some heads while you're doing it, hopefully. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna play the chords from Time by Pink Floyd, simply because they're easy to play and they sound really good when we play it. So those chords are gonna be F sharp minor, A major, E major, back to F sharp minor. Now the tips that I'm gonna show you can be applied to any chord progression and any chord, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna play these chords and these chords only. That way we can hear the difference of the techniques that we're using. The first technique that I want to talk about, it might sound simple, but it's picking the lowest note of the chord before we play the rest of the chord. Another reason why I picked these chords is because whenever we're doing this particular exercise, picking the lowest note first, if the chord has a 6-string root, which is the low E, picking that note first is fairly simple. It's just boom. It's right there, the closest thing to our pick, and we can pick it. Now the A chord, the way that I play it, I bar it, and I use my thumb to mute the low E. So now the next string below it is the A, which is our root note. So it's easier to get away with not having as good of picking dexterity as one might have whenever we're first getting started. But like I said earlier, this can be applied to any chord, but I think that these chords are a good place to start if you're kind of new to this concept. Another technique that I like to use whenever I'm playing rhythm is to not necessarily let the chord ring out and cut it short like a staccato note. So the way that I like to do it, especially in this chord progression, because I've got Pink Floyd in my head. That's a really simplistic way to show you, and if you've got a modeling amp, I'm sure you've got reverb and delay on it. You can play around with that. That's really fun to do, but I've got a delay pedal here, and I'm kind of relying on my reverb and my delay. Even though I'm cutting that off, it's still kind of lingering, but I'm not actively strumming. Really cool concept. Play around with that as well. You don't have to just do it on the upstroke, and the way that I am doing the staccato is after I pick the note, I'm just letting the palm of my hand catch the strings. Really cool trick, which brings us to our next tip, which is going to be using the heel of our palm to palm mute. You know, I don't know how Pink Floyd-y this is gonna sound, but it's still a really good concept to know, and I might switch to power chords for this, but it's still gonna be F sharp, A, and E. So let me play that without palm muting. That's really fun to play, honestly. That sounded super cool. So as you can see, there's a huge difference between palm muting and just letting the strings ring out. And you don't necessarily palm mute in every song. You don't necessarily let the strings ring out in every song. Play with it. You might be able to, and you can incorporate it into the same song sometimes. Just go off of the feel of it. Everything that I'm showing can be played on an acoustic guitar. I'm just using my electric because I wanted to use some delay and stuff, and it's really fun. Also, if you like the video, bear hug the like button for me. I really appreciate it whenever you do that. Moving on, palm muting, for me, you can do it on an acoustic, but it's a lot easier through an electric because we've got a lot of volume coming out of our amp, especially if we've got some overdrive or distortion going. Basically what you're doing is you're muting the string right where it's coming out of the body of that guitar. And you're just kind of literally muting the strings. That's why it's called palm muting. But it sounds super cool, and it's not just for metal. All genres use palm muting to some degree. Our next tip is going to be to arpeggiate the chords. So instead of just strumming right along, pick some single notes from the chord. So fret the chord and then pick a couple single notes from it, and it's going to sound pretty cool. That's going to give it more of a melodic feel, and you're literally still just playing those exact same chords, but you're breaking it up into the single notes that make it up, and it kind of makes it sound a little bit more interesting. With some practice and utilization, these tricks can really help add to your repertoire for being just a really awesome sounding rhythm guitar player, and I hope I did them justice, because they're really not that difficult to play. It's gonna take a little bit of practice like everything else on the guitar, but they're not out of the realm for most of us playing guitar. They're really not that difficult. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Let me know in the comments which one of these tips was your favorite. Also, let me know in the comments below if you think I'm crazy and you've got some better ideas that make you a better rhythm guitar player. And if you like the video, I'm going to throw something up here that I think you'll enjoy as well. And don't forget to bear hug that like button for me. And remember, practice doesn't necessarily make you perfect, but it can make you okay. We'll see you on the next one.